This week, we talked to a man who got into biking when he was a mover, driving a big truck for work, and loved how biking made him feel nimble and agile in the city. Take a listen. First of all, is this your bike, and can you tell me about it?
Sure. Yes, this is my bike. This is one of my bikes. It is a Space Horse from All City. It is a magical bike that I didn't know that I could have something that felt so nice to ride. So every time that I get on it, I'm just a little bit excited, and I love telling people about it, but I'm also sad that they can't get one because they went out of business.
Yeah, I mean, what makes this bike special? What makes you say that compared to other bikes you've had?
I'm not a I'm not a practiced bike person, so all I know is what feels good to ride, and it just feels very responsive. It feels like it does what I'm trying to do without me knowing that I need it to do it. So it molds to me in a way that I didn't know was possible, and it's pretty.
Fair enough. That's awesome. That here. And how long have you been biking, and what got you into it?
I've been biking in the city since about '09, which to me feels like 5 years ago, but now I realize is a long time. So I got into it because I was a mover at the time, and I was sitting in traffic all day driving this giant truck, and I wanted something to help me feel more small in the world, or like more nimble. So I bought a bike to start getting to work and getting around, and it just felt very freeing to not be stuck in traffic or stuck behind the wheel of a car, and just able to sort of go wherever I want.
Absolutely. And what do you use your bike for? You know, this is a pretty practical bike. You got different gears, you got racks. What
It
does that look like?
is. I use my bike mostly to commute, and I work in high schools around the city, so I commute from my home to up to about 25 different high schools regularly. So I use it to get around, but then I also started bike camping recently, and also recreationally to just hang out and have a good time.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And what do you like about biking Chicago? What are some of the things that make it special for you?
I mean, so many things. One, you know exactly what time you're going to get somewhere if you leave. Two, just being able to be more active and be more present in my body and in the world. And then three, since I do bike to so many different schools and neighborhoods and places, I really get to understand where people are from, how those places can help make the people, and how the people help make those places. And when you're driving through somewhere, or when you're riding through, as a passenger, you're just going too fast to notice things. And when you see like four neighbors and they all have similar flowers next to each other, you can think, wow, they probably had some sort of plan, or one started it and then their neighbor was like, ooh, I like that. But when you're driving by at 25 miles an hour, you just don't get to notice those things. So it's really the gift of understanding places and people, and that helps me connect with the city and the people that I work with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool. And what do you dislike about biking in Chicago? Are there things that you feel like could be better?
I mean, hate to be a typical Chicagoan Midwesterner, but the weather, it's always the wrong temperature, because even if it's a good temperature, you're going to get hot, you're going to get cold. So that's a big one. But then also just, it's hard to get around sometimes. It's hard to have enough space. It's hard to figure out what's the safest way to get somewhere. And luckily, since I've been biking so long, I think I know the best way in a lot of ways, or I know the way around if there's an accident or some sort of blockage on the street. But that doesn't mean it's easy. So having to struggle, having to put so much thought into it when it could just be more simple to go directly, is not the best in the world.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And what do you mean, like, with routes? If someone doesn't bike or doesn't understand that, what do you mean that it can be tricky to know, like, the right way to go?
I mean, the difference is when you're on a bike, you can't take any street you want, or like there's even biking for 16 years, there's routes that I know, or streets that I know, that are safe or fast, and there's streets that I just will not take, like Western or Archer or Cottage Grove, because there's too many cars, they go too fast. So some of the main streets that people use to get around by car are inaccessible, so it makes it so you have to think about, how are you going to get around under the expressway? How are you going to get over the river? How are you going to get around this, a train yard? So you just have to think a little bit more about what you're doing, and then know when that gets blocked, or when there's something that you have to go around, what to do next.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Yeah, do you bike in the rain and in the winter? And if so, how? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yes to both, and the answer is mostly I get very cold and very wet sometimes. It's really just about layering and leaving yourself enough time to get yourself together for whatever you need to do. And it gets easier when you do it sometimes, and also it feels better. Like when I'm sitting in a car in the rain, for some reason it's very frustrating, and thinking about now it's taking me longer. Now there's all these different issues that are coming up. But when I'm biking, same issues, but I'm also sort of able to move through it and feel like I'm owning that process more rather than sitting there and having it happen to me. So it's not as easy, but it's also feels more empowering or feels more like I'm in control of the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe one or two last questions here. Yeah, what do you think stops people from biking in the city? You know, as someone who got started a while ago now, what do you think makes people go, oh, that's not for me?
Whew. I think doing new things for everyone is hard, and I think that's a thing that we don't really think about a lot when, or at least the bike community doesn't think about. Is just like it's hard to do something new and to think about doing it every day or doing it for something that is very high stakes because your life is at risk or your body is at risk or your bike's at risk. And I think it's just sort of a how do you get started with something new when the stakes are very, very high? And that cost feels very high. And it's all about starting small and starting around like you don't need to drive to the restaurant that you're going to a couple blocks away, or you don't need to do it doesn't need to take over your whole life. It can just be a part of it, and being okay with things being incremental and not making it your whole personality is something that I think we could get a lot better at as a city and as, a country, I guess.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I feel like those are all the questions I have. So is there anything else you want to say about your biking experience you want to tell the people?
Yes. I mean, I think the biggest thing is it feels good to be in your body. It feels good to be able to see things and see people and talk to people, and being able to approach somebody who has a cool bike and say just like, I like the way that looks, or that you're really fast, or just some other thing that you're not blocked off by, a chunk of metal and a sheet of glass, and thinking about it's a way to bring people together and a way to be more in the world that I think we're missing a little bit today.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching that interview. Subscribe to see more conversations with Chicagoans biking around their city, dropping every other week.